Welcome to Persephone's Tavern.
Welcome back to Ivila. I am your humble DM, Trevor Trent. Joining me, as always, we have Hayden Poindexter,
Galil Oremender,
Austin Boyette,
Elara Viraleth,
Nick Lloyd,
Yuriel Gloomraven,
and Andrew Goebel.
your boy Azzy Z, Asimir Ashford.
You guys want to jump back into this recap?
Let's go. Please. I'm ready.
Last we left off, the party continued to investigate the bullywug village, using magical disguises or invisibility to avoid detection. While Elara discovered a sizable hatchery of bullywug eggs at the mouth of the riverbed, Uriel followed some servants elsewhere to find a number of humanoid captives in cages, including the missing members of Edgar's party. Meanwhile, Asimir and Galil attempted to infiltrate the trapper camp adjacent to the dam, where the Behir was being held captive among hundreds of other trapped monsters within cages. Galil kept watch for a time, and Asimir skulked invisibly through the camp on his own. Asimir steeled himself and approached the Behir's massive cage. Studying it closely, he realized he would not be able to open the cage on his own, but found an opening just small enough for him to enter through the cage by himself. Using an ability that allowed him to communicate with the Behir telepathically, Asimir attempted to convince the creature he meant no harm and intended to free it. With no real assurance from the Behir beyond its vague, passive demeanor, Asimir slipped inside the cage with the creature. Once inside, it took little time for the Behir to coil and bear down on Asimir. The wizard waited for death, but when it didn't come, he frantically began trying to cut the thick bindings off the creature's head. By this time, one of the guards began to notice the Behir acting strangely, so when I moved to investigate, Galil suddenly released a horrific frog sound, dropped to the ground, and played dead. As intended, the guard approached Galil instead, but it was clear that they were not convinced by the performance. With a series of annoyed croaks, the guard chased Galil off and had him followed out of town. Nevertheless, the distraction gave Asimir the time he needed, and with a satisfying snap, the bindings over the Behir's jaw slackened and fell away. The Behir wasted no time in releasing a massive cone of cold breath up the backside of the dam, before breaking out of its enclosure in a rampage. While Asimir scrambled to avoid being crushed underfoot, the creature began attacking any bullywugs within reach. Meanwhile, as panic begins to spread, the bullywug queen and her guard retreated back to the hatchery. Elara and Uriel met again at the cages where Fievel and the others were held. While releasing them, he noticed that one of the cages held an orc. As Elara gathered everyone and led them back out of town, Uriel stayed behind with the orc. Ensuring his allies were at a safe distance first, Uriel opened the orc's cage and squared off with it in a duel. Fueled by his grief in the loss of Krisk and his unfulfilled mission to hunt down orc infiltrators, Uriel fought wildly in close melee with the orc, nearly matching the imposing creature blow for blow. The orc eventually gained the upper hand, and in a thunderous blow with his club across Uriel's jaw, sent Uriel careening to the ground. As unconsciousness took him, he heard the orc taunting him in broken common before kicking Uriel's broken body into a nearby stream. As the rest of the party retreated back to the cliffside where Everett waited for them, it soon became obvious that Uriel wasn't coming. Looking on at the chaos they unleashed, they consider whether or not they could return for their friend.
Jeez.
Lord.
Guys, my stomach dropped.
Oh, you forgot about the annoying frog sounds?
Yeah. You know what sucks the most is that there's no way for us to know that he's floating down the river. We don't know.
Guys, we can just talk to the orc. It will tell us.
Right, you don't know he's floating unconscious down the stream, but you do know that he is late for the rendezvous at least.
And we know that you told us that he was standing by with an orc.
Yeah, you told us. Yeah.
And I saw the orc leaving
So
as I was in town.
yeah. So as of right now, we're all basically just at the top of the cliff there.
Yeah, you guys climbed all the way back up to the top of the bluff where you could see the whole camp, but now what you see is...
But the city's in like full-on evacuation mode, right? Because there's a Behir just like thrashing.
Anything that would be considered a non-combatant has now come up out of the riverbed and is trying to stay safe at a distance along the river by the dam.
Can we see the Behir from here?
Oh yeah, you can definitely see this large creature thrashing about.
Okay.
Still near the trapper cages, but you see that it's working its way through, and you start to see that these bullywugs aren't helpless. This thing with a blast of its breath could take down a dozen or more easily, but there are no shortage of frogs ready to come in.
Right.
And as soon as it starts taking some of them down, you start hearing bellowing croaks just rip, 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 building up all around, and it seems to be bringing in more, and slowly they're swarming the creature.
Question, they're all running from the bay here. We didn't unblock the dam or anything like that.
Yeah, we're not done yet.
Now,
Some are running from the bay here, and it looks like there's still enough to overpower the creature. And as you're all beginning to realize this together, Templeton says, this isn't good, this isn't good. Y'all have sacrificed too much for me, and to just let it in like this, I'm sorry I got all y'all into this, but I've got to do something about that dam before they put that serpent back in its cage. He then just looks at you and just jumps off the bluff and slides down, and you see where he goes. He hits the bottom fairly hard. It wasn't graceful exactly, but he doesn't seem too hurt. Still, he starts making a beeline for the main gate / dam.
You and I are feather falling?
oh, I can do it. We can do it.
Well, we're flying in midair, so I should hold we're falling.
Yep, no. Let's go ahead and jump. Did it once already today.
Yeah, I look at them all and just shake my head, and I walk down this pathway to the main gate.
Now, to be fair, it was pretty long.
Yeah,
I like the idea
I'll
that-
jog.
Featherfall slows the descent. We're just slowly falling
Yeah,
beside
I
you,
see
Uriel.
Galil. Yeah, just come around the corner. You guys are crazy.
All right, so you guys are midair. You all of a similar mind, thinking the same thoughts. You both land harmlessly after him. And you see that Everett is making a dash for the dam and skips the gates as he gets closer. Galil, your longer path is going to put you about 500 feet behind them. So you come around and you're approaching the village just about the same time that Elara and Asimir are reaching the gates on their own. To that, what do Elara and Asimir do when they see Everett heading towards the dam?
I'm making a beeline towards where I left Uriel.
Yeah, no, same. I'm letting him do his thing. He's being a hero right now. That's on him. All I know is that now we are kind of working on a time limit here, like a Metroid situation.
You don't see Everett, but you do see them heading into the village gate towards the heart of the chaos.
Yeah, that's where I'm going. I'd try to dash. I'm dashing. Trying to catch up.
Dashing all 30 feet.
At full dash, it would take you somewhere shy of 10 minutes to travel where you started to where you're trying to go. But as you come through the gates, you see down below where the bay here is, and it's not even quite past the front of the trapper cages yet, so it basically intersects your path where you're going. And notice it's still fighting loads of bullywugs, no worse for wear.
So, first thing I need
So
to
we can see that the bullywug is intersecting where I would go.
You see hundreds of bullywugs. Some are panicking, some are going to fight the bay here. Dozens of them are currently on or around the bay here.
I will beast shape into a wolf. I want to all-out sprint. Just try to stay out of the fight as much as I can and go straight to where I last saw Uriel.
Oh, goodness golly. I see my friend that I was kind of traveling with turn into a wolf, and now I'm just thinking, oh, this is great, and I'm just, okay. Winded from just getting back from jogging one way, I'm just going to go in and kind of help out magically myself, and I'm going to cast, just in the moment, just a gust of wind just kind of pushes behind me as I cast Expeditious Retreat. So I get to dash as a bonus action. So I'm going to be, for this turn, main action, dashing, bonus action, dashing.
Does he pass me?
That's 90 feet a turn.
Instead of 80, so he almost catch up to me.
Yeah, just like Sonic the Hedgehog, my feet go into like a spin your aim.
Stop.
I get to the gate, you guys are gone.
Yeah. That's cloud.
I'm in regular 25 run.
My goal is to find the orc, not necessarily go with you.
While you're taking a cursory glance, you see a load of bullywugs scrambling around.
With that, I'm just going to see if I can maybe catch up back with you.
Easily done. So yeah, you two are running together, a wolf and super fast wizard. Galil, what are you doing? You catch up to the gate and you just barely see the two of them some 1,000 feet away.
Where's the bay here?
Like 500 feet ahead at the bottom of the hill. As you are coming through the gate, you are getting up to where they are, and you look around and you see a little blip in the distance as they run over the bridge leading away towards the big canopy. And just as they do that, that is when the bay here has gained some momentum and the fight has plowed into the crossroads, cutting off your route. So now you need an alternate path if you wish to follow them further.
So, me noticing the differences in our pace between now and the gate, they're losing me. So I pivot. I look at the bay here, and I'm making a beeline to intercept the bay here.
Oh.
Even as you are, it's not like nobody really has any concern or worry about you because the place is in a full-scale panic. Alright, so in this moment, a bit of a party split as Galil is unable to keep up with the accelerated pace of the other two, and so resolves to give up on that and intercept the bay here. You start running down the hill towards it, but still have several rounds before you can get there. In the meantime, let's jump back over to Uriel. The last thing you remember was a bare-naked orc with a piece of driftwood crack you across the face with it and kick your body into the stream. As you slowly begin to come to, you hear a distant cacophony of noise, a distant chaos that almost drops back like a white noise, as quickly you're brought back into the moment by the sound of 100 frogs just rip, 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 rip. And as you open your eyes, you see a bullywug standing right over you. And as your eyes start to twitch,
5 more minutes.
as you say that, it goes rip, 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 and jumps back. Then you hear an echoey deep rip, 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 and you feel like your body is still racked with pain. We'll say that you're conscious with 1 hit point at the moment, and suddenly all of your senses are coming back to you. You feel your body being moved as several bullywugs come and pick you up, restrain you, before dragging you before their frog queen.
Now, do I have enough time to cast a spell?
As of now, you're currently restrained and grappled. They drag you up and you're forced on your knees because they're all short. They have you on each side by the arms and shoulders, and you are basically at their mercy.
I'm not resisting much, I'm drained.
As they pull you up before the queen, you see that she is sitting back on this large mushroom top, harvested from some underdark mushroom and brought here. All around are piles of mucus-laden eggs. You see that there are thousands of eggs surrounding this throne. She's just sitting there, sort of perched up, and the enormity of her size, but still being a bullywug, she has to do a sort of frog squat, and you see that she just rests her arms over her knees. She looks fairly comfortable, surprisingly, but she just has a very rotund look to her. A massive frog face, and you see this crown on her head. She looks down on you and the crown starts to glisten. And then she starts talking to you in a simplistic common.
Oh my god.
She says,
Am I about to learn Sage Mode?
Dude, Uriel Sage Mode goes hard as shit.
You wish.
it's almost like a double talk too, where she's going, "Gro, gro, 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 gro," but in your head you understand her. She starts talking and says, "Was it you that unleashed the serpent?"
What serpent? Last I remember, I was felled by an orc. I hate orcs.
They are most hateable, but someone is responsible for this creature's release, and since I see no one else, I hold you responsible. Then there are croaks from the nearby bullywugs, as they start to jostle a little and harass you with the tip of a spear. She says, "I should just eat you for the stress you've given me." And then you see she gulps and her mouth opens a little, and you see this massive tongue rolling around in there.
Yeah, don't forget the teeth.
Massive, massive teeth. And she just says, "But if you fix the problem you created, I will let you live.
What would you have me do?
Help my soldiers capture the serpent.
I am weak right now.
I will heal you, if you agree."
I don't see why I wouldn't help, but that will be all you get from me.
She begins to squirm and reaches up to adjust her crown and says, "I don't care, just fix it." And then the little one is like, "Bit, bit, 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 bit." And then you see it reaches into its satchel, grabs you by the back of the head, and shoves this concoction into your mouth. This mucusy whatever.
Eggs.
God, it was a stem cell?
Yeah.
And as he's doing it, another one says, "Bit, bit, bit, bit," and it's trying to force feed it down your throat. So as you start chewing, it's absolutely vile.
In between bites, I say to him, man, you seem like a fun guy.
He doesn't know what the fuck you just said. It tastes like very earthy and grassy. It's like an algae smoothie, very much pond scum. But as you're eating it, you feel your wounds start to close, and you feel these healing properties start to take over you. If you would like, you may roll up to as many hit dice as you have available to heal. You feel 1,000% better, and as you get over the grotesque nature of the procedure, you feel your strength coming back to you. As you do, the bullywugs start bringing you your effects. They took off your mask, they took off your cloak, they took off your weapons, and as they are giving all of that back to you, you see your mask has a chunk knocked off of the bottom of it where that club hit you. You reach up and you feel this pronounced scar where parts of the shattered mask must have sliced the bottom of your jaw. So you have this long scar that goes along your jawline. And as you're re-equipping everything, it comes home that it came with a few scars.
Cool.
Beyond that, you're back on your feet, and as soon as the bullywugs notice you're abled again, they approach and start jabbing their spears at you and pointing you towards the front gate. You see it in the distance, a monstrous creature writhing around and flinging little frog bodies off of it in all directions.
I look back at the frog and I'm like, that's the snake.
I thought you had like a copperhead or something.
Of course, the serpent you unleashed. Do not lie to me.
That big man. Oh.
Prove your loyalty to my kingdom.
Yes.
You wish you become like a warlock to this frog queen patron.
So as that's happening, Lara and Az
How the fuck am I gonna catch you?
come running up ready to rescue their friend, trying to find the last place that he was, and you see Uriel coming out of, there's like a round partition divided by a gateway in the center, and you see him walking out and has 3 little bullywugs following him, ushering him along with spears, but he doesn't seem otherwise
Just turn back and wave to him.
Thank you guys for your hospitality.
Did we both see that?
The only thing that would really indicate just by looking to him that something had happened besides the little escort is a chunk of his mask is missing. Other than that, he seems no worse for wear than when you left him, Elara.
How I see it, why can't we just like scoop him?
So I'm heading towards the bay here.
Yeah, I want to revert back to my elven form and say, Uriel, what happened?
I died. Or at least I thought I died. When I came to, I was surrounded by bullywugs, and it was either die or swear to help. So I swore to help capture this snake. I had no fucking idea it was this thing. But here we are. I'm trying to figure out how I can capture this thing.
We are here to destroy this bullywug encampment. This bay here helps with that greatly.
Yes.
I assume that like are the bullywugs that were escorting him out still here?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And as you guys, I was just about to say, as you take 5 seconds to just try and have a quick conversation, they're very quickly like rip, 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 and they are looking to Uriel and somehow to somehow take lead of the situation, but they are still ushering you towards the beast. And it's not from like a place of fear. As they are doing that, you see more and more bullywugs are joining the battle in all directions, so it's not like there's a lack of reinforcements. They're just trying to hold you to the pledge you made. Currently, there are 3 bullywugs around you that are essentially trying to stop you from doing anything but move towards the bay here.
I guess I'm just kind of like jogging in place right next to this whole thing. Is like, can these things understand us?
I hope not. I don't think so.
Great. We have a story to tell you. Thanks, guys. Very helpful. We'll take it from here. We'll take them right over there right now. I promise.
Hey, Uriel, we can outrun these bitches. Come on, it's fine. Yes, but I swore an oath. I told them I would.
Maybe you swore an oath, but this town is going to be flattened in about 30 minutes.
Yes. But it seems like I have sworn an oath to not let that happen.
No, you swore an oath to recapture the bay here.
We can come back and recapture the bay here at any time. I mean, if that's the case...
Your wizard tricks will not work on me. I am a man of loyalty.
Yeah, and right...
Asimir, we made no such oath. What was dude's name? Below?
Templeton.
I think Templeton means to destroy the dam. I think I can assist him with this. That's where I'm going.
As you were talking about this and heading in a, we'll say, delayed but eventual, gradual direction towards the bay here, we move back to Galil. You're moving down the hill towards the bay here, and you see that the bullywugs have the numbers on their side to a point that they are trying to swarm in and overwhelm the bay here like ants versus a grasshopper. It takes you about a minute, but you soon get to where you're within, I would say, a combative distance of either side.
How far away am I from the bay here?
How close do you feel comfortable getting?
I'm running towards it, and as I run towards it, I'm going to cast Shield of Faith on myself, and I'm assuming he's got, like, people all around him. I'm trying to find, bullywugs all around him. I'm trying to find a hole and bust through to get to him, to touch range. When I get to about 15 feet, I want to look up to the bay here and in deep speech say friend and see if it registers at all.
That's the thing with the bay here, though, is that at no point did Asimir drop invisibility, so for a creature of limited intelligence, it doesn't really have any true understanding of what or who saved it.
I'd like to be maybe on top of a roof or something. Crouched down kind of low behind it, just my head peeking out. So
All the domiciles are made of mud, just over a bullywug high. Maybe crouched behind it. A human could stand behind it and peek over one of their little huts. Alright, so at the top of the round, a couple of the bullywugs and the bay here take their round. So they're just going back and forth, and you have that nice distance. At the start of Galil's turn, you are 15 feet away from it. You see it's writhing, it's biting, it's clawing, but you are staying just about 5 feet out of its reach.
I'll just sprint in to right up next to it, see if I can actually use my 10 feet of remaining movement to move it. Can I run underneath it to where I would be on the opposite side?
I would say no. It's more of a belly-dragging kind of creature.
I just want to run up behind him and cast Cure Wounds at the second level.
On the bay here? Interesting.
Heal him for 16.
Alright, so you move in 15 and heal him. Are you just going to move back out, or?
I just want to move towards his hind legs.
Alright, then you put a little touch of healing. You see some of the wounds that are just made start to close up. You see it's covered in gaping spear wounds and such. Nevertheless, they are not deterred from stopping it. Uriel, it is to you next. As some 600 feet away, you see that Elara and Asimir are heading that direction, but seem to be trying to avoid the fight itself. That said, you guys are a minute or so away from reaching it, but you having it in sight can shoot from a great distance.
And that is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take a shot at it. Right here. So I think I get 3 attacks on my first turn altogether. With my magic weapon up, that's a +10 to hit. 27.
That's a hit.
And then the second attack, I'm gonna take a -5 to do an additional 10 damage if it hits. 13 on the second one.
You didn't even put it in the dice tray.
Same thing on the last attack.
Wow.
That's gonna be a miss as well. So that's 10 and then 10, 20 damage.
So Galil, you definitely notice that as you place a hand down to the creature to try and heal, you see an unmistakable arrow fly into the creature and hit it. Only notable because you haven't seen any bullywug with bows.
Standard.
I don't know what to do.
I can tell you what to do.
Oh, you seem to have your own plan.
Yeah, I don't know why you're on the villain side now.
I told him I would.
No,
Because they
want to do.
You've got Stockholm Syndrome or something.
This crown is really pretty.
Yeah, I'm going to take it off its corpse.
Alright, Galil, more of the same. The bullywugs are just punching in wounds as much as they can, and this bay hare is just barreling forward. You find getting closer quite easy, as it is just using its movement to keep going forward, and you see it's got this... It's obviously defending itself from the swarm, but it's got this tenacious glare on the backside of the camp. It's trying to get there. More so even than just trying to escape the area and get away. But yeah, it goes back to you as they are continuing to do that. The bay here doesn't seem to have its breath attack back, so there's that to think about.
Okay. Seeing as the bay here didn't swipe me right out of the gate, I'm gonna drop Shield of Faith off myself and cast Shield of Faith on the bay here.
Cool.
Yeah,
Does Shield of Faith have any visual effect on the bay here?
Probably some sort of abjuration effect.
golden glow. And I just want to keep the bay here between me and the bullies as much as I can.
Okay, as you were casting that spell, a few of the group of bullywugs break off and noticed you doing that. So they start to break off, and you now have 4 of them trying to separate you from the bay here. You'll have to contend with that if you want to continue buffing it and such.
Were they able to get in between me and the bay here?
You're standing 5 feet adjacent to it? Then no, but they can definitely surround you.
Can I see that?
If I can shoot 600 feet, I'm hoping I can see 600.
Yeah, you can see the bay here clearly. It's scaled down because it's a bullywug village, but it's like a kaiju walking through the city. You see this towering snake monster, and you see some movement below it, but it's just chaos as this thing is trampling through. The 4 that are on Galil are just trying to poke him with spears, but he is very easily fending them off with his shield, and then it's back to Uriel.
I want to take a moment to survey my surroundings and also gather my thoughts, because so far Uriel's woken up surrounded by bullywugs, unsure what happened. He thought he was dead, now he's not, and then he swore to a giant frog that he would do this thing.
He woke up and started licking dogs. Made a promise. Half asleep.
It's like,
And now he's like, okay, hold on. I remember why I'm here.
yeah.
There are still 3 bullywugs around you, croaking about how you need to go and fight. Rip, 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 rip.
I see these bullywugs and they're pushing me in directions. So I want to look around, see if I can see a couple of things. I'm looking for my group. I'm looking for the orc. And I'm looking for, I guess, anything that I could use, or any like loose rock outcroppings in the ceiling.
You definitely pinpoint your friends. You see Elara heading in the general direction of the dam, but doing her best not to get close to the bay here. Asimir was ahead, but seems to be hanging back, seeing that you're not following them, and you think you see Galil right in the thick of the fight with the bay here.
Okay, I'm going to probably just move another 30 feet up.
So you, Galil, get an interesting view of this, being at that back angle.
You're gonna avoid the tail swipe by being by the leg. Gotta avoid the breath and the claw. They don't have a side bump.
The rest of you are still approaching from a distance, still over 100 feet away. See this massive ice cloud appear seemingly out of nowhere as the Behir cranes its head back and paints a huge swath in front of it, annihilating all the bullywugs in the cloud. And as they all freeze and tumble to the ground, the Behir starts crawling as quick as it can towards this newly opened area and takes its full movement that way. That's going to bring it back to Galil, who isn't blocked off, but will take opportunity attacks if you try to move away from these 4 frogs running interference.
How far away is the bay here now?
It's already 50 feet off.
I'm sprinting. I'm dashing 50 feet. I'm gonna take my shield and just try to bash off the frogs that are next to me and fat dash, yeah.
Does a 17 hit you? 20.
21.
All four of them, like striking at a wall. They come at you with spears and you keep blocking them. So yeah, you start running as quick as you can after it. You keep up with it. It's all you can do to keep up with it, but you are definitely doing so.
I yell in deep speech, freeze the queen.
Uriel, back to you after that. You see as its massive ice cloud begins to dissipate and it lowers its head, you see it emerge from the haze.
Do you see me tinking behind?
Yeah, I would say so. It's mostly cleared out everything that was directly in front of it, and reinforcements haven't been able to come in. So you see Galil on his own running after the bay here with a small group of bullywugs chasing him.
I am going to shift focus from the bay here to the frogs that are trailing Galil. And try and pick off some of the ones in the front.
It won't be that tough to hit from that vantage point. You line up your shot and take a crack at it.
Right, so 2 attacks. I'm gonna do the first one with a -5 for the +10.
23.
23 to hit. I'm gonna swap to another one that's trailing behind Galil and do the same thing.
I'm gonna give Tor some of
We'll
those.
do -5 again for +10.
Or in this case, okay.
That's a 7 to hit.
First one hits, second one is a miss.
That is a 18 damage.
Jeez.
I see just the arrow just fly past my head to hit the bullywug.
Probably in a forced perspective, you see this arrow twisting and twirling in the air as it whips past you.
In my mind, there is a frog archer that is handy with a bow up there. He nailed that.
I'm moving another 30 feet up.
The four that were chasing you, Galil, one of them clutching a vicious wound, falls back as the others don't catch you. They are slow. You just hear the sound behind you of...
They're coming. That's just no one ain't coming. Sure. We're gonna get some distance back here. I hear the man running upon us.
You hear that, and also the one that was clutching its wound stays behind and just starts bellowing, rip, 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 calling in reinforcements and tried to keep up with you, but this bay here, now that it's gotten the bulk of the bullywugs off of him, is making a beeline. And to that token, it is going to make a dash on its turn and move 100 feet. And you're going to try and grapple it. You stay on. As it starts going, you see its tail sliding slowly behind it past you, and you just grab onto it. There's a bit of a jerk back and forth as you get the rhythm down and just shadow of the Colossus up behind its rear horn. So you get to a point where you feel stable and continue barreling forward. Uriel / Elara / Asimir. Elara is the first one up. You are only about 150 feet away from the creature. You're south of it and have stayed out of sight so it hasn't seen you, but you are that close as the chaos is passing you like a ship in the night.
How won't deter? Just keep dashing and towards the dam.
Now the other two, Uriel and Asimir, you guys are underneath that big canopy tent, just on the back side of it, so closer to the bay here than not. It's about 240 feet away from you currently, and that brings it back to Galil as you are clinging onto this thing for dear life.
So I am going to cure wounds at the second level again. 14. And he's still got Shield of Faith out. And give him a little pat.
How far away is the bay here from me, and is it coming in my direction?
Yeah, it is definitely coming to your direction, and it's about 240 feet away, and you see Galil hanging onto its back.
I want to
Skeeks is what I'm picturing, this like blood-tailed skeeks.
get in the middle of its path. So I'd like to use rope tricks kind of a weird way. Right, like I'm just sort of hoping the rope goes rigid, but I mean I can just do 30 foot of rope up into the air, and then I want to climb up the rope and ready for the bay here to pass underneath me, so that I can jump on top of it.
All right, you climb into your rope trick hole and hope that the battle moves beneath it. All right, Asimir, it is on to you now.
So I like to kind of think, like, it was just like, hey, you do whatever you want, you're real, and then he just, like, climbs up in nowhere, is like, no, fine, okay, whatever, and I'm gonna try to just stop jogging in place for once and just book it to where Elara was going. Just trying to find Elara again. 90-foot dash.
All right, you zoom in that direction, moving at a full dash. You see her about 30 feet ahead of you.
Yep, I'm just following on suit. Just Elara, hold on, wait up!
Galil, it is back to you. The Behir is dashed up. It is getting closer to that tent. Otherwise, seems to be continuing what it's doing. There are stray spears flying in from all sides, but the Behir is so fast at this point that the bullywugs just can't keep up.
Okay. So I've used all of my second level spells and half of my first level spells. So I'm going to use another first level spell to cast Cure Wounds on it.
That's a lot of spells.
6 more HP. And we'll just keep riding, getting him buffed up, ready for the fight.
Okay, clear.
All right, Uriel, back to you. Still holding the rope, and it'll be another round or two before the Behir will be beneath your trap.
I want to pull up my rope from the rope trick and then grab both of the loose ends of it and then let down the loop, holding both ends of the rope.
Get your
Are ready.
I know exactly what's going to happen.
And I'm ready myself to, whenever the bay here comes underneath me, I'm going to drop down out of my hole on top of it and then start pulling my rope in. That way I have not so much to control the bay here or anything like that, but as extra stability for me to hang on to my ready to action whenever I drop out of the... Instead of dropping out of the hole, I'm just going to be over the top of it, and I'm going to stop concentration and drop on the bay.
Okay, that's a good one.
Hayden, it's basically just you for 2 rounds unless Asimir wants to do something else.
I'm panicking. Let's be here is good at me.
Last spell slot on a heal on 1 turn, or 9 more. Second turn, I'll give that puppy guidance.
Not a puppy, it's a bay here.
He's my puppy.
It's just a puppy.
All right, so it makes 2 more dashes. Uriel, now it's when it's going to drop. Let's call it a grapple check. You drop down, perfect form. You've got this rope out, ready to loop it over the creature's head and drop down on the back of it.
I just see a glitch in the matrix of just Uriel appearing with a lasso out of nowhere. Just, oh God. Put 2 and 2 together on the arrows immediately.
So if I could have an athletics check.
That's the one I'm not good at.
Yep.
14.
A 14. All right, the bay here at full bore with its +6 to its roll. I roll a 3, so.
Don't go the beast!
And now you can able to let go of your commitment.
More like conquered the situation because now you haven't double looped it, so it wasn't a lasso. So you're now holding on to both ends of this rope, standing on its back like a surfer because that's the only way you can keep the rope tight is by pushing against it with your legs. So you were just above Galil holding on for dear life.
Where did you come from? I was up there.
It does seem distracted by this point because of the 2 heavy forms clinging to its back. Yeah, it goes to Asimir as you continue to follow Elara. You probably catch up to her on that same round, and then it's the bay here again. So I need opposed athletics check from Galil and Uriel as this thing starts bucking like a stoat. Okay, so Galil somehow manages to hold on, but you can tell he is not happy about all the extra goings on while he's trying to destroy shit, so it's trying to get everything off its back. It starts bucking wildly, roiling in a perfect curl, and as soon as the apex reaches you, Uriel, it just popcorns you off of its back, and you let go off the end of the rope and start tumbling. 5 bludgeoning damage as you flop onto the ground right there. That was its action, so it can only move another 50 feet, getting just to the end of the canopy. Then it goes to you, Galil, who is just barely hanging on. You are getting closer and closer. The only thing beyond this tent is the entrance to the hatchery.
Can I see the entrance to the hatchery here?
Just barely, as well as you can on the back of this creature.
I can't.
I yell at Uriel.
Captured it.
Yeah, you can
Brave though.
Yeah.
I yell at Uriel, we gotta clear out this hatchery. I think this bay here is gonna do a lot of work, but we gotta keep it covered. There's a bullywug gonna be flooding in behind us.
Leave it to me.
Yeah, dude, just is bad out.
Yeah, Uriel, it's back to you. As you're standing back up, you see the bay here is 30 feet ahead of you, and the bullywug and reinforcements have begun to close in on the area. They haven't quite sussed out that you aren't helping them any longer. For all they knew, you were just trying to lasso it. It looked good.
I'm going to Hunter's Mark, one of the bullywugs that is closest to getting to us, and I'm gonna shoot it. And I continue towards the bay here.
Kind of catching up with Elara. She's like, so what's the plan here? What are we doing? What's going on?
The dam.
The dam? The dam. Okay, I pass Elara.
All right, on this turn, the bay here is able to dash and get all the way up to the edge of the hatchery. Galil, you see from its back that the bullywug queen is sitting there. She has this wide-eyed, open look, and she is barking croaks in all directions as you see a mob of bullywugs moving up to try and defend her from what's coming. And at the end of its dash, the bay here just coils up in the opening, almost fencing it in. It runs its body up one post and then lets the slack down and curls it. It just stares down, and you already see the ice breath beginning to build up in its mouth as it is about to unleash a frost breath, and it just can't yet as it goes back to Galil.
Okay. Do I notice the crown on the frog's head?
Mm-hmm.
Does it look like Aethersight to me?
It's tough to see. It's about 150 feet away, but it's a noticeably dark metal with a crystal embedded in the center of it.
I bet that's Aethersight. You said we're 150 feet away?
Mm-hmm.
I Do I see eggs all around on the side?
Oh yeah, and piled up along the side, you see behind the throne where this cave mouth, where water from this river was supposed to go, and the opening has just been gummed up with frog eggs. They are mostly piled up around the cave opening, but they are spread all along.
So right where we open, right on the side, there's some. So I want to hop off. I should take my hammer and I'm gonna smash some.
All right, you smash an egg. What's the damage?
7.
I take that back. You attempt to smash an egg as you come barreling down on this mucus. Your hammer hits it, and it's like a buffer. As soon as your hammer hits it, it just squishes into it, and all that momentum is lost almost immediately. You go like 3 inches into the mucus, and it absorbs all that force, and you just see the egg inside gently shifts from the impact.
I'm gonna eat them. I can tear it apart with my teeth, I bet. Busted all over the floor.
Uriel, back to you. You're running up. At this point, because of the speed, it's 120 feet from you, and it's coiled up completely, covering the opening into that space. It's still a ways off, but you would either have to climb the wall or devise another way into the area.
How's all of them you're chasing us at this point? All of them?
All of them in the village. Warriors anyways. I mean, in your immediate vicinity, there are probably only 6 or 7 of them, but you see dozens scattered in the distance that are trying desperately to reach the bay here and stop it.
I'm going to shoot another 2 of them, but this time I'm going to use 2 of my fire arrows. Try and set them on fire, cause a little bit of chaos. Nat 20 plus 10. 26 on the second one.
Yes.
So that's 8, 12 damage, and ignite. And then the next
It's still up, albeit on fire.
2 damage. Or no, I'm sorry, 6 damage plus ignite.
All right, you catch 2 frogs on fire who start running around and catch 2 more frogs on fire. So they just start running around, spreading fire through their ranks.
Finally, a plan that comes together.
Okay, so Asimir and Elara, still about 5 rounds before you reach it, but from where you are, you can see most of the back face of the dam. You see there's ice scraped up along the bottom where the bay here used its breath before, but along the top, you do see this figure that is up there fighting solo against a bunch of bullywugs. You don't get a good look at them, but you hear the sound of battle coming from up there.
Damn.
It is.
I have the plan. I have the plan to take down the dam. Go get Templeton off the dam.
Okay. Let's see. I can do a lot of downs. I don't have a lot of ups. That's my one issue. You got it, boss. You know, I'm gonna run scythe up the dam.
Throw around.
Yeah.
Judging by the speeds, Asimir, you're going to reach the top of the dam along the road at the same time Elara reaches the trapper cages at the bottom.
Hey, y'all, whatever gets me up to Templeton.
We got Bay here, top of the round, coiled and ready, just unleashes frost breath through the area. Galil, you just barely roll out of the way, landing next to a sludgy clump of eggs, but everything else in the vicinity can't save it. You see all the bullywugs freeze instantaneously or fall over dead, except for the queen. Upon taking this cone of cold to the face, begins casting a spell, and you see her crown lights up and flickers, and a large field of magic around her that blocks some of the damage and pulls some of the energy into the queen. She winces from the cold, but is otherwise able to withstand it, and you see her eyes are now glowing a foggy white. Channeling this magic, she prevented some of the damage from going through, and with that, it brings it to you, Hayden. Galil.
I'm gonna toll the dead on her. Be a wisdom save.
Ooh, it's high. 19.
Yep, nothing happens.
Uriel, you're next.
I'm going to shoot another 2 fire arrows at some unlit targets. 13 on the first one,
Miss.
and then a 23 on the next one.
That one hits.
6 damage.
All right, Uriel is back there setting frogs on fire, effectively cutting off reinforcements.
Frog is on fire.
I'll do another 30 feet towards the bay here.
All right, so it's the queen's turn. On her turn, she lets out this bellowing frog croak as she begins to move forward. She takes a leap and gets right in front of the bay here and is going to try and take a massive bite on it.
It's crazy.
I mean, this feels like a crazy kaiju fight. I'm not gonna lie.
She doesn't seem to be able to get a good bite as it squirms around, so it lashes out with frustration with a claw and scrapes across it and leaves a scratch. But you see the extra cold damage that channels through her hand and concentrates in the wound. Luckily, the bay here doesn't seem too affected by the cold. Okay, back to the bay here, who is going to do the same, continue fighting this giant frog. It does not recharge its breath, so it just attacks. It tries to bite on it, misses. But as the queen was dodging out of that bite, it uses its opportunity to run down the wall, coil around the queen, wrapping her up tight, but they are almost the same size, and it is only able to get one good wrap around the queen's body because it's so massive. And that's all it can do on its turn. It's crushing her, and the queen doesn't look comfortable. And it's back to Galil.
I'm gonna toll the dead again.
Wisdom save is pretty decent, 16 plus, so it doesn't quite affect it. Then it goes to Uriel.
And I'm gonna bonus action cast Zephyr Strike, use another 2 fire arrows, catch them on fire with the torch, and I'm gonna shoot one at the tent.
Yeah.
And then another one at a little bullywug. 29 to hit the tent, and then nat 20.
Ooh.
Okay, so 30 to hit a bullywug, 12 damage, and then it's ignited. I'm just causing chaos.
It's working.
And because that was a Zephyr Strike, I'm gonna move 60 feet this time. Oh shit, Zephyr Strike. That does additional damage. Okay, so that's 14 force damage.
That one is dead.
Dead? Easy.
And on fire.
The queen is struggling to get out, but it can't, so all it's going to do is try to bite it and struggle against it. It doesn't hit, though, with the Shield of Faith going, so that is going to bring it back to the bay here. It keeps clawing and biting, or trying to. So at this point, it seems like an even match between these massive figures rolling around in the opening of this hatchery. Despite the imposing nature of the bay here, it seems the queen is quite capable of defending itself and its brood. But that brings it back to Galil.
I'm gonna run up and bop it then. I'm gonna hit it right on its toe with my hammer. I'm gonna pull my hammer out and put my shield back, 2-hit it, and run up, smash its foot. 7 bludgeoning. When I hit its toe, I give the bait here to the side. You saw me help, right?
All right, Uriel, you are standing beneath an inferno of a burning tent, but it is your turn.
Just gonna use 2 regular arrows and attempt to take down another 2 bullywugs. One of the ones in the front, trying to slow them down.
As you are lining up your shot, you already see chunks of burning fabric falling, and you know this thing is not going to be standing much longer.
The second one I'm gonna shoot at, I want to shoot at like a main support beam that's maybe looks, if I can just break it and collapse it. 12 damage.
I don't know how much that is speeding things up, but it did do some damage.
And then another 30 feet towards the things.
The queen is going to try to break out of its grapple and still can't. This bay here has it dead to rights. So Asimir, as reaching the top of the dam, you had to go out the main gate and hang a left to go up to the edge of the riverbed so you can access the scaffold leading up to the top. You finally reach it and are trying to catch up to where you think you saw the figures. You are looking up and down. As you reach about the midway point, you look and you see a crowd of bullywugs surrounding something. All of them seem to be solely focused on this creature. Some of them appear quite wounded. As you're getting closer and trying to see what it is they're fighting, fearing for Everett in this moment, you aren't sure what to make of what you're seeing. You see this figure that is hunched but is still probably 5 foot tall, spindly, and is wearing ratty clothing. You see that its whole body is covered in short, coarse fur of speckled gray and black. You see an elongated, pointy, rodent-shaped face, small, round ears that are leathery and have a hue of pink to them. Coiling out of its waistline, wrapping around its waist like a belt, you see this long, ropey, fleshy tail. And in its hand, you see a long dagger. And it is 1v6ing these frogs. You see this unmistakable form of this rat man.
Ooh. Oh, man.
As you're gazing around to see, it is in a battle stance, ready, dodging bullywug attacks. It looks at you, and there's a flash of recognition in its eyes before it says, "Well, are you gonna help me or what?"
Is this Everett?
Sounds like it.
And as you're considering whether or not this could be Everett,
Oh, did it now.
that is where we're going to end our session.
Oh, no.
Ratman,
So, yeah.
defender of the frogmen.
It's like walking around the song. Ran at the fair. I said like in the beginning, I want to be a rat at the fair.
Yeah, I just wanted to so bad.
I had a suspicion when he ran off. Like, I was like, okay, there's going to transform or something like that. And then when the fur, as soon as I heard the fur, I was like, it's a were-rat. Before you even did the nose, I knew Templeton, I was like, oh, he's a were-rat.
All right, thank you everyone so much for listening. As always, we had a blast making it, and we hope you enjoyed listening. If you like what we do, please reach out to us on Facebook, Patreon, or Spotify. Leave a comment, leave a like.
Yeah, and
tell us
if you have any questions or anything that you would either like to ask the characters or the players of those characters, submit those either on Facebook via message or on Patreon, and we'll actually get around to the ones that we can and answer those at the end of the next session.
Yeah, for sure. I'd love to do like a Q&A or ask me anything or anything like that.
What's Uriel's favorite hot pocket flavor? Hot pocket.
No, save the answer.
No, it's okay.
He really asked his.
I really want to know the answer.
If you really want to know the answer, because I do have an answer now.
I guess I'm going to have to subscribe and make sure to find out. Yeah.
All right, well, thanks again. Bye-bye.
Adventures with friends old and young. So come raise your glass to the hero.